Hey, Solo, there you go, mate. You come to see me. Morning, ladies. Be very comfortable there in the citrus grove. Good morning, how you going? Before we do anything, hold on. Before we do anything, we've got to make some coffee. Daniel's doing chickens and ducks this morning.
Thank you, Chloe, for the Swamp Cafe. Oh, the tide's a bit low there, Clay.
Messy bastard.
Look at these guys all around the farm. They're free.
Making coffee is an art, and I'm not good at it. Still tastes good. Imagine when I do get good at it. Dogs are chilled out down here, and I wanted to talk to you guys. I thought about making a video that would be useful, that would be helpful, that would, in this time of uncertainty with lockdown and everything that's going on, I wanted to make something that particularly younger people could take something from, so you don't give up, and also make the most out of this time. Is this camera going to be okay here? I'm just going to stick it on this box while I'm talking to you. I want to start off by saying, when I was very, very young, I used to think it wasn't for bad luck, there'd be no luck at all. And I made a very short video on YouTube Shorts about this, and that was pretty much how it was. I always felt like everything was going wrong for me and nothing would ever quite work out. My dreams were never going to come true, but I kept on trying, and I never gave up on my dreams. So this is this is actually a story about a lot of my life, and you can take a lot from this if you're a young person, because we all need to have a dream if we are going to have a dream come true. So first of all, you've got to find out what your dream is. What is it you want to be? What does it want to do? I'm going to actually turn this around here. Pause for a minute. That's better. So as a child growing up, I grew up in the Abel Tasman National Park. My father was a ranger, and I did correspondence lessons, and I didn't do very well because my mum taught me and I was busy watching what was going on outside the window. I was watching all the dolphins and the killer whales and wanting to go hunting and exploring. And then I finally went to Wainui when I was 8, did a bit of school. I was already behind them because I hadn't really learnt much. Not my mum's fault, I just wasn't a good student, and I was also very dyslexic. A lot of things were quite backwards for me, and still are. And then as I grew older, I made my way through we went to Fielder National Park, and Dad was a ranger there, and I went to different schools and lived down there, and then we moved to Christchurch, and I left home very young. And I had this dream, probably from about the age of 12 or 13, I wanted to be a musician. I wanted to play music. I wanted to make a living playing music. I didn't want to do anything else. So all I wanted to do was play music, and everybody told me it was unrealistic. Didn't stop me. I kept on practicing my harmonica in my bedroom all the time, and I used to sit on the porch for hours and hours with my harmonica playing it there, and really, I wasn't that good. My first gig I ever did was at Nurse Maud Rest Home in Christchurch, and Nurse Maud's still going today. I tried to impress this girl at school with music. She called me a creep. I remember going out with the harmonica, and then I learned to play the harmonica and the ukulele together, and I showed her again. She said, "You're a wanker." And it wasn't happening for me, but I never let go of that dream. I kept on learning and practicing for hours and hours. I'd spend alone, and I'd dream of just like getting out and playing music, because I love music. It used to make me feel so happy, and I thought, man, if I could do this, and also it could be my job, it'd be really cool. Also going through teen years, I also thought maybe I'll get a girlfriend, because I wasn't particularly good with the ladies when I was younger. Actually, I'm still not that good with them. And anyway, I was practicing, and eventually I got this first gig, which was in Main Street Cafe in Colombo Street in Christchurch. $15 an hour he was paying me for playing as a musician, which back then was pretty good. And I played to 4 people. And I played in pubs and clubs after that, and the dream never really took off. And I ended up being a salesman for a couple of companies. The first one was Alley and Forrester, and the second one was Frost Wholesales. We're going back a lot of years now. Richard was my boss. He was a really good boss, actually. We'd drive a Camry Toyota around with my tie on. I'd be selling AC Delco spark plugs and Hella products and Repco products, and all the time dreaming of becoming a musician. And in my lunch hour, I'd go home and I'd practice. And when I got home from work, I'd sit on my bed and practice the guitar and learn songs and write songs. I wrote a lot of songs. I could write a song just like that. I have that ability to make a song up about anything. I've always had that. I can do it off the top. I have that type of thinking where I can just, like parallel thinking, where I can just see the future of the next line before it's even there. But still, nothing happened. I was still playing in shitty pubs, and they'd have the TV louder than me half the time, and I could tell you some stories about that. So I didn't give up, and I kept on preparing for what I could envisage one day could happen. I was doing my sort of prep, but also hoping it would come true, but also trying different things out, different clubs, different places. I did the workmen's clubs, I did cafes, I did pubs, I did private functions. You name it, I played it. I'd do anywhere. I played with a guy called Ken Aykroyd. He was brilliant. He taught me a lot about being a showman. Kenny was a great showman. And I also learned a lot from being a sales rep with talking to people, because up until then I'd just been in the country my whole life and didn't know anything about talking to people. And that's where I got my talking skills. Up until then I was pretty quiet and pretty insecure, I guess, to speak. And I had to speak as a sales rep. I had to go out in the morning, and if you went into a panel paint shop and there was 12 men all sitting around, and some of those big paint shops in Christchurch were like that, I'd go and talk to these guys, and they'll be having their tea, and it'd just be me, and I'd have to say something that was entertaining to get their attention, to keep them listening to me, and I couldn't sell my product if I didn't. And that taught me how to talk to people. So I was gathering all the stuff for what my dream was in the future, to become a good musician, an entertainer, a singer, a performer, but a professional musician that could get paid for it, make a living. At the age of 27, I thought, this is it. It's not happening for me. I'm going to leave Europe. I'm going to leave my girlfriend. Her name was Catherine Smith. She was lovely. But I thought, I've got to do this by myself. I told her the bad news on a beach in Westport one day. We're over there, and that was terrible. Man, I could just feel the weight saying to her, look, I'm sorry, but I'm going overseas. I want to follow my dream. And she was like, what about us? And I said, well, I have to do this alone. She was really, really a wonderful girlfriend, but I had to do this. So I bought my ticket. Well, firstly, I told my boss, actually, Russell Frost. And I remember him saying to me, you know, you're a fantastic sales rep. You don't know what you're leaving behind. You really need to stick to your knitting. This is what you do best. And I said to him, look, parallel marketing's coming out. This is the 80s. The warehouse had just started. I said, I can see the writings on the wall for us wholesalers. Everyone's going to be selling what we're selling soon. I could see the writings on the wall, and I was right. I don't know if he knew that, but I'm sure he did. He was a good businessman, but I could see it for me. I could see as a sales rep it wasn't going to be that good, and I also had this dream. He said to me, you know, not everybody can be a Beatle or an Elvis. I said, I don't want to be that sort of famous. I just want to make music. I want to do it so I get paid and actually enjoy. I don't want to be huge like that. I just want to have an income so I can play music every day. He said, well, there's a job here if you ever want to come back. And you know, so many times when I was I'll go to the future now because I went to Europe, but so many times when I was over there for the first year, I was travelling around, I thought, geez, I'd love to go back to that job. I miss it. Because the first year was hard. First of all, I went to Bangkok, and I actually worked for some bad guys. They were connected with the mafia and did some work with the Thai kickboxers. I was doing shiatsu massage, prepping them for fights, and travelling around a lot around Thailand. I was pretty much leaving home. I had a one-way ticket. Eventually I wanted to end up in Sweden to connect up with my friend Arb, who was in Sweden, but I had a one-way ticket to Europe, and Sweden was on the way. So I stopped off in, I think I was about 4 months in total in Thailand, and my job was doing shiatsu massage. I trained under Colin Doherty in Christchurch how to do shiatsu, and when I was doing martial arts myself, I did Seido under Renze Hanum in Christchurch. I learned a lot about massage and relaxing the body going into a fight, and then we could turn that key so the body hypes right up. So this worked really well, and I did really well with that there in that job, and I got paid really well. But the fights, a lot of them were illegal, and they were young guys nearly killing each other, and there was a lot of money involved, and it was a horrible scene. I saw some horrible things, which I won't go into in this video, because this video is about your dream coming true. All the time learning about how to connect with people, how to be with people, how to talk with people, how to entertain people, and all the time playing my music. Now, when you're travelling, a harmonica's that big, and that was the instrument I travelled with, and I learned to be able to play anything, anywhere, just creating a rhythm and putting the words in between. And today, one of my biggest songs is Old Dog, which is just a harmonica and me stomping my foot. Someone sent me a video of the All Blacks playing it on a bus when they were doing their tour over in London a couple of years ago. And Old Dog was going. Everybody in the bus is dancing. And I thought, man, I never thought I'd make it that big. They're all like, Old Dog, and they're all singing it. And that was I think it was Lem Squire, or maybe it was Tim Perry that sent me that video on his, I don't know, I can't remember now, but it was such a cool feeling to see these guys enjoying my music. So let's backtrack now. I'm in Bangkok. I left Bangkok and I went to Sweden, and I stayed with my mate Arb, and in a town called Saltsjöbaden. And I went to Stockholm, and I played in a place called Chaos, a little club there, and I played in lots of little clubs. I had a great time. I had 2 Swedish girlfriends in the 8 months I was there, and I can tell you, Swedish women are next level. They are so beautiful. One of the reasons I also want to go to Sweden is I had a beautiful Swedish girlfriend. I thought, well, I might meet the love of my life there. So I met Helena. She was a ballet dancer, and she was really, really fantastic person. Still on my Facebook today. And the other one was Annie. And she was also fantastic. She was beautiful. She was way outside of my league. I was, really punching high there. And I'm still friends with her on Facebook. But it just wasn't happening for the music. It still wasn't happening. So then I went through the country, and I travelled through Denmark and Finland and all those countries, and it wasn't happening. And I ended up down in Greece. I travelled through Germany. I met a really cool guy called Stu Antilles. He was Jewish. He was from Chicago, and man, I saw him in this place in Frankfurt playing on stage, and he just blew me away. His entertainment skills were next level. He was a great singer and a great guitarist, but his entertainment was like next level. And I thought, that guy's got it. I met him actually at the Frankfurt Youth Hostel. That's where I met him, and we did some busking together, and that was really cool. And I can remember the gypsies trying to steal off us while we were playing music, and his bum bag was with his money in the front was jumping up and down, and these young guys were like looking at it, and Stu was like, oh, they're going to try and steal my money. Stu and I had a lot of fun. I carried on. We met up with a guy called Mush, and we went further down to Baden, and that's in Sweden, and I hung out there with a guy called Dan, and we spent the night at this woman called Priska's house, and Dan ended up in the same room as her, and they kept me awake all night banging away there. In the morning I got up. Oh man, I also spent a night in a cell there for not punching my ticket on the bus. The Barn police got me, because over there you got to punch a ticket. I thought you just buy a ticket and that covers it, but you actually got to punch it in a machine. That was a learning curve. That's another story for another day. Anyway, Stuart called me from the town of St. Ingbert on the phone. This is just when cell phones had come out. It was 1991. I had this big brick. I've still got it. This big Siemens phone. He was like, hey man, I've got this gig in this place called St. Ingbert. Man, they need musicians over here. It's an Irish pub circuit. It's owned by a guy called Tony Dwyer, and he's got like 8 pubs. He's got one in Poland, and I'm playing them all, and there's hundreds of people, and it's really happening. I was like, for real? He goes, yeah man, and the tips are through the roof. I was like, holy shit. I must have 27 years of age now. I used to have a black cowboy hat, and so I've been down in Greece, and I've been mucking around, and I thought about this more and more. So he said, St. Patrick's Day, 17th of March, come up and play this gig. So I rocked on up there, and this is my first gig. And this gig changed my life. It changed my life. 2 things happened on this night. Firstly, I got connected with a circuit that I played 3,159 shows on that circuit in the next 13 years after that. The other thing was I met Danny Roke. She broke my heart, man. She was a Lufthansa stewardess, international Lufthansa stewardess. And she was fucking beautiful, and we fell in love, man. And holy shit. The next 2 years, she broke my heart. I loved her so much. She didn't love me. That's how it goes sometimes, isn't it? Well, she thought she did, but she didn't. And we broke up. We broke up actually 2 years later on the island of Koh Chang. And that leads into the story, because she left me in Koh Chang. I actually got sick with typhoid, and then when I got off Koh Chang, we got onto a bus, and that was the bus that got robbed. I don't know if you follow that story on my channel. and we overtook the bus, and we finally caught the thieves and got back to Thailand, and they got dealt to in a horrendous way. That's a story that you can find somewhere on my channel. Anyway, go back to St. Ingbert, 1991, March 17th. Stuart and I on the stage for the first time. Huge audience in front of us. They used to call themselves a group. They called themselves the Muppets. Christine was one of them. Oh, there's a whole lot. There was some of the names. And the pub had a barman called Patrick Kelpie, and he was crazy. He looked like a smaller version of Malcolm. What's that guy? Mel Gibson. That's what I'm thinking of. He looked like a shorter version of him. And all the ladies loved him, and he was funny as a piece of string. And oh, he was just the amount of drugs that people were taking. And here I'm at the age of 27, and it's a time in my life where it's just all happening. Actually, I think I was 28 by then. I just had my birthday. And yes, it was actually. I just become 28 because it was after February, so I would have been 28. And the people were just drinking on the bar and singing, and suddenly my dream had just come true like that. Boom! All of these years of preparing, all of the preparation I'd done took me to this point of standing on stage, and I've still got a photo of it. On stage, and there I was playing the harmonica, and Stu playing his Gibson guitar. I'd be on his shoulders playing, and we didn't even practice. We just we're such good musicians by then we could do it, and the chemistry was good. I went under the show name as Spider. There's a story about that, a whole story how I got that name, and I'll tell you that very quickly. Me, Biddy, I forget the other guy's name, are walking down the street in St. Ingbert, and it's like we're drunk. This is before we actually got this. Sorry, not St. Ingbert, Saarbrücken, Rosenstrasse. And it's 5 in the morning. We've been drinking all night. I'm ready to go back and think here. And there's this woman brushing her hair, and she's topless, upstairs, like in a 2-story thing. And we're drunk, and we come back. It was Biddy. I forget the other guys' names. It was 3 of us. I don't remember Biddy. I think it was Seamus. We look up there, it's like this woman, and she's brushing her hair, and these... Of course, we're like... And I look up, and Biddy's like, "Fuck, would you look at that?" And I'm like, "Holy shit." And she looks down at us, and she's like, Germans are so free with themselves, and these pendulums are swinging. She's like, "Hello." And I'm like, "Oh, hello," dribbling. And Biddy goes, "I fucking love you. I'd eat chips out of your knickers." And I'm like laughing. And she goes in a really bad sort of English, she goes, "Well, if you come up here, you can have me." But he's like, "Fucking right I can." So he starts crawling up the side of the building, and he just can't get up. He's too drunk. The other guy wasn't Seamus. It was Lyle, and Lyle was quite big. Lyle. There's this kind of trellis up the side with a few plants, and he has a go at getting up. And this woman's looking over. I'm just looking at her boobs and her hair. She's only like probably, I don't know, 25, 26 years of old. She's beautiful. And Lyle is pulling all the plants down, and they're all falling down. The trellis is falling down. And everything's like, it's collapsing on the ground. He's so overweight, he can't get up, and he's drunk, and he thinks he's going to get there, and he's almost frothing at the mouth, trying to get to this woman. It's an absolute no-go. And then it's my turn. Well, I wasn't as drunk as the other two, and I think I was a bit more agile, and I'd done a lot of climbing, and up the side of the building, there was a sort of bit you get your hand into, and there was a pipe. So I climbed up there, and I got one leg up onto the trellis right up wide and pulled myself up, and she was in the balcony. She was like there, like looking at me at the balcony, and I was like that far away, and she said, "If you get up here, you can have me." So I thought, I'm gonna have you, and I'm there, and then she like slams the window. So I go around the front door, and then there's this bloody, I think it was either a Moroccan or maybe straight American black man. It was quite dark in the room. And it was like, it was early morning, he was like getting up half asleep and like, "What are you doing here?" So I was actually in her house, and I just fucking ran right through and out the front door that went all the way back down to the bottom. I fucking ran out. I thought he was going to kill me. I didn't know she had a bloody man in there, and a big black man. So anyway, we're getting how I got called Spider. When I was going up the wall to there originally, Biddy said to Niall, "Fuck, would you look at that? He goes up the wall like a little spider." And that was Spider stuck between those two. So when I went to St. Ingbert, the people said, what's your name? I told them my real name. I said, oh, I'm Damon John Ward. And they said, well, we need something better than that. I said, well, Biddy and Niall called me Spider because I could climb up wall. They went, Spider, that'll do. So Spider stuck for the next 13 years. And people still call me Spider over there. And it was kind of good too, because as I got bigger, it was nice to have a name that wasn't me. I played on television. I played right throughout Germany. I played in Göttingen with Stu, Castle. We played together. As a duo, we played together for probably about 2 years. And one day Stu said to me in Castle, he said, you know what? We'll make twice as much money. We'll make twice as much money if we split up, because we're both great artists and great entertainers. And I never really thought much about the money, but you know what? That was the best thing we ever did. I miss playing with him, but then I got ahead. I got ahead and I made good money. I wasted a lot of it too, because I had a gambling problem and I drank a fair bit as well. And I spent a lot on women, and the rest of it, well, I just wasted that. I met my kid's mum over there. I was playing the island of Crete in Shadewise Irish pub. There's so many things I could tell you about those years, but the real guts of this story is this, guys. If you have a dream, you really need to prepare for it, and it will happen that you'll think, I'm not getting there. Like the days I spent in my bedroom just frustrated, or the gigs where only 3 people came when I was in Christchurch. But my dream did come true. When I landed in Germany, when I landed that gig in St. Ingbert, when I played all those other shows, I felt like I was on a planet where I belonged. Everywhere I went, people listened and loved my music. Everywhere I went, I was accepted for who I was, and I did what I love, and I got paid for it. It was a hard life. I only ate 1 meal a day back then, not because of a choice through dietary reasons, but I just didn't have time. I was travelling sometimes 5 or 6 hours on a train to the next venue. I had a rucksack, I had a pair of jeans, I had 1 guitar, a Takamine, and I'd travel. The first thing I would do was, well, let's start at the morning. The morning would start with the cleaning lady kicking me out of bed because I would have slept in, because I had such a late night. The Putzfrau in Germany. House. So I'd get my pack together and get everything up, and I'd be like half asleep or drunk, and get my pack on and go down to the train station to find out, and that might be a walk to find out what next town. Look at my plan. Oh, I'm going from Pirmasens, I'm going to Düsseldorf. Oh, that's going to be 5 hours. So get on the train and I'd travel there. I'd get into Düsseldorf maybe at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, get off the train, either get a taxi or walk, work out where the Irish pub was, go there, meet the owner, set up, put all my gear in, do my sound check. By then it's probably like 5 or 6 o'clock, still haven't eaten, go and try and find a place for a meal. What I used to do was I used to travel with a plastic jug, because I come from a poor background and I still was conserving money. I was living way below my means, and in this plastic jug I used to cook all my food. I'd cook up meat and everything. I'd boil it in the hotel or where I was staying, and that'd be my little cooker if there wasn't a cooker. You could make soup in it, you could do noodles in it, and that's how I'd make my food. And then I'd have a shower and I'd put my clothes all on. I had a pair of black jeans and I had 2 silk shirts, and I always washed the one the night before. I had 1 pair of black jeans, 2 pair of underwear and socks, and I'd do the show, or go into the pub, talk to people, do the show. Sometimes it wouldn't, it was a weekend, it wouldn't finish till maybe 2 in the morning. Count all the money out, the tips. We used to go around with a hat and collect tips, and the bar would also pay you. They'd pay you $250, and then on top of that you get tips. And then you get back to your hotel, and sometimes it'd be 4 or 5 in the morning, and I'd have a shower, and I'd wash all my clothes in the shower, and I'd hang it over the heater, and I'd go to bed maybe sometimes 6. That late it could be, quite often, depending on, because you couldn't just stop straight after a show, and you guys that entertain or know this, your body just doesn't slow down. And then I'd go to I'd be in the hotel bed, I'd fast asleep, clonk out, and by 9:30, 10 o'clock, the cleaning lady's there. House, and the day would start over again. And I would sometimes do 50 to 60 concerts in a row without a break. I've actually got a little poster from Guinness for the most travelled musician. I got that from the Saarbrücken Irish pub. The other thing I did over there was I painted. My very first painting was a self-portrait of myself, and then I started to sell portraits of people in the audience. So I made extra money doing that, and I loved it. So I did this. The last gig I did was 2005, and I met my kid's mum in 1999, and in 2000 we got together. We broke up only 3 years later. After that, she found out that I wasn't the right person for her. We're still good friends today, but she gave me 2 lovely children, and I also had a third with a woman who was a sperm donor with. That's Hannah. And I talk to my kids every day, and they are the blessing of my life. They're the thing that really keeps me going the most. The whole conversation here and the whole story is about preparation. And I'll say it again. I don't believe in good luck or bad luck, really. I mean, you do have some good luck and bad luck, but I believe in more than that. I believe you create it yourself. And I believe that real good luck, really good luck, is when preparation meets opportunity. Stuart Antilles gave me this opportunity to play in a place that was a circuit connected to a big circuit where they needed musicians. There was over 400 musicians needed to be employed on those Irish pubs back in those days. There was many circuits, not just that one. So all my preparation meant that when I got there, I was prepared. Had I not been prepared, I would have failed and it wouldn't have worked. So for your own dreams, make sure that you really prepare yourself for the day when the opportunity meets you, so you're ready. I have a saying I say to all the young guys about going into the bush, going to the mountains, and it's failing to prepare is preparing to fail. And I still live by that today. Do your prep and you're going to be all cool. Some of you might be wondering, well, why aren't you a musician today, Clay, if it's so good? Well, I am, but very, very limited. I destroyed my shoulder about 9 years ago in a hunting accident. I was running down to the bale and I tore my arm backwards, this one here, and tore the infraspinatus, and it still needs surgery. And I've been kind of putting it off because it means a long time of being out, and I can only play like 4 or 5 songs. I did play St Patrick's Day this year at Biddy Kate's Irish Pub, but my son played drums, but I was very limited. That's why I play a lot of harmonica, because I can keep it going. But really, you need to accompany yourself with your guitar. Really, that's the main accompanying instrument. So, when that happened and I couldn't play gigs anymore, I started teaching music around all the schools here, and it didn't really fulfill me. I did it for 5 years, but I think everybody should at some stage in their life be a teacher, because it teaches you a lot. It's very humbling, and it also teaches you to have patience, and I got a lot of skills, and I enjoyed working with the children and also their parents, but it really wasn't where my heart was at. And so then, in 2007, I did my first, we're going back track a bit here. In 2007, I did a couple of YouTube videos for fun, and then all the years later, it wasn't till probably, I don't know, 8 or 9 years ago, I really took YouTube serious and started to do it. And then and that also wasn't working. It was because the guidelines kept changing. I couldn't keep posting stuff, and I wanted to do hunting, my passion, hunting and fishing and outdoor cooking. But I was going backwards at that. And my dad told me, he said, son, stop this. It's crazy. I was $40,000 in the hole after 3 years. It was going like that. But I'd done all the preparation. And I knew that something could work. And I was really in debt. And I didn't tell anybody on the channel this, because I didn't want to be seen as being no good at what I was doing. I wanted to portray that I was actually doing something that was being successful, so people would keep watching, because no one likes a loser. People aren't interested if you're at the bottom. They aren't. And I don't like showing my weakness, and it was a weakness. I was failing. I just didn't have it. It wasn't working out. I was enjoying it, but financially it was crippling me, and I was renting this old farmhouse here. I don't own this place. I was only renting because it was dirt cheap, and I had a really good landlord, Murray. I mean, we had rats running through the roof. Well, through the house. Dayla would no longer sleep in there because she had one that ran on her bed and scratched her in the face at night. And the windows had big holes in it, and it was really unlivable. And Murray, I mean, he gave it to me, this place, for a song. I paid. He said, look, it's not rentable. And I said, but I want to live here. And he said, well, it's your choice. So he wasn't a bad landlord. He was just a guy that gave me an opportunity. And I'd look after his cows when he'd go away overseas. I look after his cows all the time, because Murray was a businessman. He owns the royalties of 2 lots of trees. So him and his wife Mary would go away, and I'd always look after the farm. He'd give me a little bit of firewood. I didn't get paid for it, and that was good. But I look after it. And there's the other thing. Finally, all the years later, when this came up for sale, who do you think got first pick? The guy that'd been looking after the place. Me. And at a fair price. But let's go back a little bit. I became a YouTuber, and it wasn't working. And a really cool guy called Mike Prater, an English guy, and I owe him a lot, man. And I got a real feeling of like he's my son. He didn't handle it very well when I got cancer, He wanted to come over here straight away, and I said, look, bro, it's not about you, it's about me. I need to just get well. But he's the guy that set up Patreon. He said, you need a Patreon. I had 18,000 subscribers. And it's like, I just don't feel good about asking people for money, bro. He said, you're not asking. And then Darren H wrote to me and said, yes, you need a Patreon. Darren H had already given me $1,000 towards a drone, and he got people on board with that. And I just didn't feel like I was worthy of that. And all these people got around me, and oh, sorry about notifications. I should have turned that off before I started. All these people got around me, and it's like, all right, Mike, I'll do Patreon. I wanted to wait till I got at least 20,000 subscribers. Well, Patreon was a success. People were just amazing. People were just fucking amazing. I was overwhelmed. People were giving $2 a month American, $5 a month. Then the Good Bastard Club. Mike created all this. These American dollars, $20 a month. And then there's the Gold Star Good Bastards, $50 a month. And they blew me away. Selwyn, Fisherman Selwyn, who's been my biggest patron, he was paying the $50 a month twice, so it was $100 a month. Richard Ware, my really good buddy, who I just fucking love, he's the guy I love to hunt with. Next level hunter down south, who's got me my first tar this year. He was paying before Patreon was even there, putting money in my account before it even existed, and so was Errol T. In fact, a number of people were, and Errol T's still a patron today. So this whole thing, the story I'm telling you about, is all the preparation I did and all the struggle eventually turned around, and of course the rest is history. The patronage went up. I kept on making videos, kept on doing what I love because I couldn't play music. And guess what? I finally got in a position where I could buy this farmhouse. The old farmhouse is now the new farmhouse. I could employ my friend Arb, my very best mate Arb. You guys know what the old farmhouse used to look like. Look at the front of it now. Look at that. Look at that. And one day, this side here, which is the old side down there, will be all new too. We're going to do the whole farmhouse, and we now have been able to afford with patron money to buy that. That's where young Daniel is staying for a couple of hours work a day in the garden. I can afford to actually to buy that and gift it to somebody. Well, not gift. 2 hours a day's work in the garden's pretty good deal for gas, firewood, food, everything, power, the whole lot. That's pretty good deal. That's because of my patrons. So I'm going to end now. If you have a dream, do your preparation. Do your preparation. And I'll say it for the third time in this video. Good luck. That's when preparation meets opportunity. See, when the opportunity came up to buy this place, I didn't have everything there. You guys that follow me know how long it took. I talked about buying this 2 years prior to buying it. It's coming up, but I'd worked really hard. Sometimes I think I worked too hard. I feel bad about that because I think I missed out on time with my children when I was starting my channel. I do feel bad about that. That triggers an emotion because my daughter would say to me, Dad, can we go fishing? And I was like, honey, I've got to edit this video. And I do in some part regret that. But anyway, today I've got a home for her to come back, and of course it'll be hers one day. You do make sacrifices, and I do regret that I work so hard in that way. But sometimes you have to. That was my story. There's a lot of bits that are missing. If you're still watching this and still here, thanks for following me, and I really do appreciate your support and helping me make my own dreams come true, because they are coming true every day. And the reason they're coming true is I've done my preparation, I've done the work, and you can do the same. It's never too late to start preparing for something that you dream of in the future. And as always, be good. And if you can't be good, well, I'm a great one for saying this because I'm not always careful. I'm going to go and just see how Daniel's going this morning. He's going really well now. He started off slow, but he's going well. Daniel, my brother. Daniel, my brother, you are older than me. Well, that's bullshit. I'm like your grandfather. How you going, bro? I'm doing a video. Say good day, everybody.
Yep. How's it going, guys?
You're looking pretty sharp, dude.
Cheer up.
You've lost weight, looking clean. You've changed a lot since you've been here. Yeah, well, you've got kind of a dream come true, eh?
Yeah, it definitely has been. because that's what I always tell my mates as well. Is always like plan ahead, like within like 2 to 10 years. Always try to place steps towards what you want to do. If you don't know what you want to do, then I don't know. I guess you're kind of left out. But
Well, if you don't know what you want to do, this is the thing about that. If you don't know what you do, have short-term goals and long-term goals.
yeah,
So my short-term goal today is to do a bike ride, to get my fitness up, check the houseboat, make sure no one's broken into it, do my dishes and tidy up, do the little jobs around here. And my long-term goal is ongoing. And that's actually something which is in the making, which I'm keeping to myself. And that's another thing about dreams and things. If you've got a dream, don't tell everybody about it, because if you do that, the power goes out of it. The momentum goes out of it. The electricity goes out of it. And I do have something else up my sleeve, but I'm not talking about it until I get the real momentum going.
yeah.
But on a day-to-day basis, you've got to have short-term things that are rewarding. Yes. It's a beautiful day, isn't it?
It is.
Beautiful day. We're here in lockdown. And this has been a talk video. Thanks for watching, and I sort of finished a while ago, but I just want to say good morning to my man. Do you want a coffee?
Yeah, sure. I'll take on.
I'll make you a coffee, bro.
See what up.
I'll make you one of Chloe's famous Swark Cafe coffees. They probably taste nothing. I bet hers tastes 10 times better, because I'm not exactly a... What's the word that make coffee? Is it a barista? I always get it mixed up with barista. It's a barista. Yeah, so we're going to make him a coffee and put this video. This is actually a snap vlog, so it's very easy to make. I haven't done any editing. All I'll do is I'll just turn it around the other way and post it to you guys. Have a great day. Use this time in lockdown to work on and prepare yourself for your dreams that will come or hopefully come true in the future. Preparation, preparation, preparation. See you later.